Look, if you got a Mac, do not upgrade to the latest operating system. I really just had to take all this time to put all my programs back together because I want the show to be a certain way. Y'all know me by now. Let's get right into it because guess what? Apparently they don't fear Jey Uso.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just going to keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. This show, of course, is brought to you by the Wrestling Realm. If you haven't done so, please go ahead, hit the subscribe button. As I'm gonna throw that right there, boom, on your screen. Yep, got the ticker back, the original ticker that I was using. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to the podcast, click the bell notifications, turn them on. That way, you know every time I post new content, it's up there. It's right there. You ain't got to wait for it. Shout out to all my subscribers. I really appreciate y'all. We talk about Thanksgiving. We talk about being thankful. That's one thing I'm thankful for, folks. I am truly thankful for everybody who has taken the time, whether it's 5 minutes or the whole show, whether it's one episode or, some of y'all don't listen to all 175 episodes. And I truly appreciate y'all. I'm thankful for y'all. And I'm praying that you are staying safe during this time. We are in the midst of something different, something that this is just different. The global pandemic known as the coronavirus, known as SARS-CoV-2, known as COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, folks. It's running wild, and it's running wild worse than Hulkamania. So I pray that you're being safe. So let's talk wrestling. It's a man. And his name is Roman Reigns. And he calls himself the tribal chief, the head of the table. And he wants to be feared by the entire SmackDown roster. And he wants his cousin Jey to help get this done. But unfortunately, folks, Jey ain't working. They not taking him seriously. Roman blamed Jey for the SmackDown team losing the traditional Survivor Series match, getting swept, might I add. It's never good to get swept. But Roman blamed him and said they don't fear you because they wouldn't have acted like that. Sent him home. Well, Jey came back to help him, in the main event with Drew McIntyre. And Roman reminded him again, no, I never called for you. I didn't send for you. So I'm sitting here watching this story, and Jey Uso started off real hot. He's winning all the matches. He's beating Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan. But now he's losing his grip. And it's really damaging to his brand in a sense that you're looking at Roman, and Roman is just like, I beat you, and I beat you bad. But I was trying to break you, but you're just not falling in line. So I'm wondering what happens here. Because I'm like, dude, come on, Jey. He does too much, and now he's getting himself in these situations. And, Kevin Owens straight up told him, I don't fear you, and I don't fear no man. So that takes me to what I told y'all last week. I was expecting Kevin Owens to come big after the Survivor Series. Now, with Owens going on after the Survivor Series, I noticed that they lost. He wasn't the sole survivor, but guess who's coming out of here? I was like, this is exactly what I wanted to see. Will Owens beat Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal Championship? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But the fact is, he will be the one to take on Owens, I'm pretty sure, and I'm calling it now. It will be a tables match. I mean, they're talking head of the table. It's a gimme, right? So I'm thinking it's going to be a tables match, and I think it'll be interesting. I can see Kevin Owens giving Roman a run, but in the end, we all know who's going to win. But I have to say, I'm wondering what's going to happen with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. I mean, with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. How much longer is Jey going to be able to take this? What's going to happen when Jimmy comes back? You know, is he going to help Jey get that swag back? Or is he going to say, you know what? Roman's right. You need to be more aggressive. Maybe they'll team up like they, I can see Jey being the one that got beat up when they were young if they wasn't beating up Roman. So we shall see. Let's go to AEW. Their World Championship hangs in a balance in a couple weeks. Next week, maybe it's the week after next. We'll see Jon Moxley defending the championship against Kenny Omega. This is a match I can't wait to see. And I think Omega gets it. I can see Moxley taking some time off. I mean, he's been their champion, but I can also, I can see Moxley being the type of dude to say, I'm ready to go home to my wife. She's pregnant. She's early. I don't think he's going to work all the way up until the 9th hour, 11th hour, like Seth Rollins did. He might, but I can see him losing this and then just kind of getting like maybe a rematch and then going home. But he attacked Kenny Omega, beat him down, and basically told him, said, next time you send somebody better to attack me, I got some phone calls I can make. So I thought that was funny. Shout out to AEW and NXT putting on the shows, entertaining shows the night before the Survivor Series. A slot traditionally used to be held for, I said the night before the Survivor Series because I was going there. That was the night of the Survivor Series. It used to be the night before Thanksgiving. So I thought this was, pretty entertaining. Me personally, I was cooking. So that's the reason why I didn't do the show on Wednesday night, folks. Unfortunately, my wife was sick and my parents sick, which we wasn't going over there anyway. But, I said, guess what? Not only was I the head of my table, but I was also the one cooking. I said, I'll step up to the plate and get this done because we're going to eat some Thanksgiving food around here. So it was important. You can't sit back and be like, nah, we just going to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. No, I ain't want my kids to do that. I went ahead and so I'm putting myself over right here on my show. I'm putting myself over. A lot of, there's times and place for it. So I was like, what? I was pretty proud of myself. I was really proud of the way the food turned out. But, we're going to move on. Tag team wrestling. Matter of fact, that deserves a top rope.
Going up to the top rope.
It's time for this week's Top Rope segment of the week.
And that's a little off. Sorry for the visuals as I'm trying to get things situated. But the top rope this week, I got to give it to the New Day and the Hurt Business. Great tag team wrestling. Now, shout out to my sister, Britt Waters. She was on the line this past Sunday for the Survivor Series post-show, and we talked about it. We talked about tag team wrestling, the importance of tag team wrestling. We also, we talked about how the WWE has been giving us these great tag team matches. We saw that with the New Day and the Street Profits. Now, in my group chat, shout out to the NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists, the wrestling crew. Y'all remember we was on, they was on the show before, and then obviously, Britt's a part of the crew. He was here this past week, because we journalists that love wrestling. We saw that. I said that I had the New Day losing the titles. I thought the Hurt Business, this was going to be the opportunity. They was going to walk around with all the gold. But that wasn't the case. The New Day was able to get it done. They was hurting. They was definitely hurting, but they was able to get it done. I do think they'll lose the titles to the Hurt Business. I don't see anybody else win it. And I honestly think that happens at TLC in a few weeks. And the Hurt Business will take us into the new year, all the way probably to the Royal Rumble, at least into the Royal Rumble as champions. But, I thought this, just another incredible match. And like Britt was saying, a lot of times you don't get those great tag team matches in WWE. And it made me think about something as I was listening to her on the Black Wrestling Announce Table. I realized my beef with tag team wrestling. It's not that I have a beef with it, folks, but I have been ruined. My tag team wrestling enjoyment has been ruined in the past decade by the WWE. Let me explain. As somebody who at the peak of my, I ain't gonna say the peak of my wrestling fandom. That's the wrong way. But at the height of the Attitude Era, as an Attitude Era kid, shout out to those wrestling girls who have the shirt that say the Attitude Era, F this up. At the height of my wrestling, at the height of the Attitude Era, where I was always enjoying wrestling, right? Everything they gave me, I enjoyed. I noticed that you had all these tag teams in the WWE. The Acolytes, who became the APA. Obviously the Hardys. Obviously the Dudleys. Edge and Christian. The Hollies. Midian and Viscera. You had these tag teams, but they were not makeshift tag teams. It was that smooth chemistry. And I mean, you had matches where some of the times, even if they would be like main event in the first hour or the second hour of Raw. Well, first hour, Raw didn't go 3 hours. But my point is, these tag team matches were some of the most must-see matches at a pay-per-view. I mean, you go back to the Royal Rumble 2000, the Hardys versus the Dudleys. You go back, obviously, the TLC matches, the Triangle Ladder match at WrestleMania 2000, the TLC matches at WrestleMania 17 or SummerSlam 2000. I'm saying, okay. But then something happened. And recently we saw a lot of makeshift tag teams. Then we saw some tag teams throughout those years, I'm seeing names I'm seeing faces I can't, like the Spirit Squad and what was it, Lance and Murdoch, all those other teams, right? But then we saw a lot of makeshift tag teams. And to me, those don't do it for me. It's not the same. So that's why I realized, maybe I'm starting to get that enjoyment of tag team wrestling back. And shout out to the New Day, because they've been doing this for about 7 years, and I've been enjoying them. And then the Usos, obviously, like, I think the Usos, to me, they are my favorite tag team of all time, surpassing the Hart Foundation. Hart Foundation is like OGs, but the Usos are like, current. But I'm like, maybe that's what the problem was. All the makeshift tag teams. So, but, PWI did a top 50 tag team list. I'm going to have reactions for that coming up later on in the show. But now, but like I said, the Hurt Business New Day, they get the top rope this week for the incredible matchup. Speaking of teams, we got War Games coming up. Pat McAfee's going to have his team, and Pete Dunne's on there, which I like this new attitude that Pete Dunne has. And I think it works for him. It's something different. And he's going to be on McAfee's team. He scored the advantage, beating one of them, I believe it was Kyle O'Reilly, of the Undisputed Era. Now, the Undisputed Era, War Games is their thing, but they could be in trouble. Then when you go back and you go behind the curtain, when you really think about it and you look at the booking, could you really see Pat McAfee losing to Adam Cole twice? I mean, I know it's two different types of matches, but it's going to be really hard for me to believe that he will lose twice. Moving on to Raw, this one right here, moving on to SmackDown, this right here gets a tapped out.
Here's our tapped out segment of the week.
Tapped out goes to Big E. You may say, why, right? Well, so Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn had a match. Sami Zayn won count out. And that's the second match he won by count out, beating Apollo Crews, right? Big E goes to him and lets him know, like, yeah, you basically, that was cool, but you won by a count out. And then he would proceed to hold his hand and almost break it, holding it for 10 seconds, right? And I'm sitting there like, oh no, I know what's coming. Because Sami Zayn brought up the fact that Big E was Intercontinental Champion, but he told him it wasn't worth much, basically. So nobody remembers. Nobody cares. And I'm like, man, this guy was right there looking at the goal, the championship, challenging, making you think that he would be challenging for the Universal Championship one day. But now it looks like he's going to be sent to the IC Championship. So I'm not really feeling that. I hope I'm wrong. Somebody show me something different. But I'm not liking the fact that it looked like Big E is headed to the IC Championship and most importantly, headed to the mid-card. That ain't what Kofi and them left you for. They said, go get your time. It's your time to shine. Go after the WWE Universal Championship. Only time will tell. And then before we go to the first break, we got AJ Styles, they just call him Riddle, and Keith Lee. They will take on each other in a triple threat match, all of them winning their respective matches this past week. Winner faces Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. It's hard for me not to see AJ Styles winning this match. I don't think I see what Keith Lee is doing. He's been in prominent matches. He's definitely been having a spot on the show since coming to Raw. Even, whether he's facing Strowman or whatever, he's having a spot. So I'm liking that, but I just don't think he wins right here. I think it's some more time before we see Keith Lee in a serious title picture, and I don't think it's going to be against Drew McIntyre. I just don't. But I got AJ Styles winning this, and this is definitely something I'll be looking forward to. But I'm going to go ahead and take my first break, folks. It's Black Friday as I'm sitting here recording. And, I got on our NWO-like shirt. And you can see right here on the belt, I got the NWO plates. So, why not take you back? If you haven't watched this yet, please, after you finish watching the show, watch the full video.
The following announcement has been paid for by the Wrestling Realm.
You already know who we are, but you don't know why we're back. Hey guys, I feel like they hear us, but they're just not listening. So I feel it is our responsibility to make them listen. Now you see one thing, in these past 4 years, I done went through all these channels. Nothing. We've come back to, purge the internet wrestling community of something that has plagued it for years. They got you talking. They got me talking? You don't talk. I don't talk. I don't do this. Okay? This is not my thing. You show up, you kick butt on the show, and that's it.
There we go. And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you subscribe to the Wrestling Realm and make sure you follow us on IG, as I've just posted an IG video. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and record this part. So yeah, make sure y'all follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Realm. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Wrestling Realm. And of course, follow me at Brian H. Waters. So make sure you do that. So moving on to the women side of things. We had Sasha Banks finally getting her revenge against the one and only Carmella. And so this is going to be fun to watch. I know as we go into TLC, I could see this being a ladder match. I think TLC would definitely see a lot of gimmick matches. And the reason why I can see this being a ladder match, let's think about this. Who's the first Miss Money in the Bank? Carmella. Why not she have a match with Sasha and us believe she'll be at the, have the advantage. So one of the things I want you to do, if you haven't done so, check out the Survivor Series post show. I love having Britt Waters on here because one of the things she talked about was Carmella's outfit. And if you haven't done so, check out her wrestling opinion, which is I record this on Friday. It airs on Saturday. So make sure you follow her on Instagram. Yeah, I'm plugging my sis. That's the bloodline. That's what we do. Shout out to her, always repping. But yeah, make sure you guys do that. It's funny. It's great to hear it from a woman's perspective. So that's the reason why I had to bring that up. But yeah, I'm excited about this. Like I said, no way I expect Carmella to win this. This is for Sasha to, get these reigns under her belt. We also saw Bianca Belair defeating Natalya. And shout out to my little bro, Stephen Michael Thompson. He was on here a few weeks ago. He sent me the tweet, Natalya, just talking about she is the best of all time, the GOAT. And Natalya is somebody, she is a solid veteran. First ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Yeah, you look at the accomplishments. If you look at the title wins, yeah, Mickie James, Trish Stratus, Victoria, Lita, Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, Bayley. They're all going to have more on paper success, but something has to be said about the longevity of Natalya. So I think she's great. She goes out there, she gets these women ready. When it comes to the in-ring stuff, she is one of the best to ever do it. We got to look at that. I know WWE is about the entertainment, so that's the reason why it's like, okay, she doesn't always get her props. Listening to the Black Wrestling Podcast, shout out to them. 200 episodes. So make sure y'all check that out. They had the Black Announce Table podcast on there. And one of the things that when I was listening to them, they brought up Bret Hart, and Stat Guy Greg talked about, I think it was Stat Guy Greg. If not, forgive me. But I believe it was him. He was talking about Bret Hart being that, one of the greatest of all time. And, everybody always talks about Shawn Michaels, but I said this, that if Bret Hart never left WWE, if Bret Hart never left, even though Vince McMahon pushed him out the door, I firmly believe that he would be regarded as the greatest of all time and not Shawn Michaels. Here's why. We all know Shawn had his demons and everything. If Bret Hart could have held things down and did a proper transition to Austin, not only if Bret would have put Austin over, but also put him over in the rematch, right? And then just think about all the stuff he would have done there. It would have been great. Now, one of the things they brought up was the fact that people always talk about Bret Hart not having the best promos. But I was sitting there watching the Survivor Series 1995. And I was getting ready to go to bed. And I said, I'm going to go to sleep with the TV on. And I'm fast forwarding it. And, I went right to the promos before him and Diesel cut. The one thing you could say about a Bret Hart promo was that it was real. You felt it and you wanted to see the match. I actually took that from their conversation because that's how much I agree with it. And that's the reason I'm giving credit for saying it first. And I was like, exactly. Never before. And I know me being a diehard Bret Hart fan, I've always enjoyed his matches. Yes, people may say taking his life to his self too seriously. Me and the real Dwayne Allen was talking about this on the phone the other day. Said, people say Bret took himself too seriously. But what you got to understand was when it came to the business, this is what he lived and breathed. Other people wanted to do other things. And some people wanted to be wrestlers. Some people's parents said no. Some people said yeah. But when it came to Bret, he was born into it. His father was Stu Hart, who made sure, they took the business serious. All the boys were wrestlers and all the women married wrestlers. So that's the reason why I've never been one to be like, oh, Bret took himself too seriously. I do say he is one of the greatest of all time. And, I'm highly entertained when I watch his promos because it makes me want to see the match. It's not the Hulk Hogan's. It's not the Rock. He's not going to spit nursery rhymes. He's not going to have you saying what. He's not going to have a big catchphrase, even though he does say he's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. But you knew you were sold on the match. Let's get back, though. So, you know, I had to bring in Brett and Natalya. Asuka and Lana. How about them? Asuka and Lana. Lana is, you know, she ain't go through a table this week. I'm tired of her fighting Nia Jax. I think she'll get another opportunity somehow, some way. She'll get another opportunity. Asuka will want to give her a rematch. And, you know, it would be interesting if she slipped and beat Asuka. Don't be surprised if it happens, folks. She could actually do it. She could slip away and beat Asuka. But I'm still tired of Nia and Shayna holding the tag titles hostage. I want to see tag teams in women's wrestling. You got the titles. Let's use them. So, but again, a makeshift tag team. Man, moving on to NXT, we saw Toni Storm. We saw the new Toni Storm as she attacked Ember Moon after Ember came up short against Candice LeRae. I think, yeah, she lost that match. But, yeah, she attacked her. Or maybe, actually, I think she won. But either way, she got attacked. And she will be on Candice LeRae's team heading into War Games. So, I'm interested to see what we get from this new Toni Storm. You know, she was a great NXT UK women's champion. So, let's see what we get now. And then rounding off, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. What great stories are they telling? I mean, you know, you got the best friend and then the friend who left her for a man, essentially. And now you're wondering, like, so what's going on here? And then right there, you saw Alexa Bliss. Just when you thought they was going to make up, everybody saw us coming. She hit the, you know, I guess the Sister Abigail is what you call it, to beat Nikki Cross. But, you know, with that right there, I'm interested to see Nikki Cross go to a new level. Unless she ends up joining him, you know. Who knows? But then we also saw The Fiend and Randy Orton. The Fiend has his eyes set on Randy Orton, a guy. No, that was actually Bray Wyatt. Yeah, Bray Wyatt who beat Randy Orton. But we know these guys can work well together, so who knows what's coming up next. But speaking of what's coming up next, I'm about to take a break. Guys, I'm going to take you back on a journey. If you follow us on Facebook, you may have seen this video if you've been following us for a long time. And this right here is a project that the real Dwayne Allen and I did when we were in college as we created this great brand called the Wrestling Wrealm. What you're about to see is a trailer to a project. As this right here is something we had to do for our final project. So here's a peek. Disrespected. They believe in it. They understand because they share the same passion. And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So that's just something I just wanted to share on this episode. Wow, like looking at that video footage, I'm like, first of all, you got me with barely any facial hair, just a goatee. For those wondering, that was shot in 2012. So what was it, 2012? I was about 25. Yeah, I think, no, 26. Yeah, I was 26, so that would make Dwayne 24. So, yeah, almost 10 years ago. And I was like, wow. But, yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. Probably a few hours of shooting video, that is, shooting video. So, yeah, make sure y'all, when you can go check out the full video. It's about 4 minutes long. You can check it out right there on our Facebook page. It was very interesting when they gave us the grade. We got an 89. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I felt like, I ain't going to say it. No, I felt like, it felt like we should have got at least a 93. But, we wanted to do a wrestling internship, and the school said, we want to do it for RCW wrestling. But, I mean, it's a blessing in disguise. I ended up doing an internship at the Baltimore Sun, and got a chance to cover some wrestling when I was there and right on the website, so can't go too wrong with that. So let's go around the net. Around the Net, brought to you by B Waters Productions. If you're looking to get an event filmed or high quality pictures, you want professional quality, simply go on Instagram at B Waters Productions and visit www.brianhwaters.com to book B Waters Productions for your event. So, around the net, let's talk about it. Make sure you get B Waters Productions, as if you're looking to get some of your holiday photos done, if you're in the Baltimore area, or if you need graphics and you're anywhere, like social media graphics, we got you. Around the net, we got Mike Bennett returning to Ring of Honor Wrestling. I think this is good for him. Ring of Honor was great. And, some unfinished business. He was never world champion, if I don't remember. So, unfortunately, things just didn't pan out too well for him in the WWE. And then, he also had his relapse, unfortunately. But he's clean, so that's the most important part. And I'm interested to see. I think he had I enjoyed his work in Ring of Honor. Kind of think, Mike Bennett in 2012 going to WWE would have worked, maybe not. But it didn't seem to fit there, but it felt like eventually he would get going. And speaking of returns, Shane Helms and Finlay back in the WWE as producers. So congratulations to them. So that's just a little bit from around the net. Oh, also, before I forget, I want y'all to check out my boy Corey Wood's brand new show. Oh, man, and I don't have the name. I just know it's on Woodward Sports out of Detroit. He had Eric Bischoff, so just search Corey E. Woods on Twitter. I forgot to write it down, so that's the reason why I'm not 100% prepared. But he had Eric Bischoff on there, and I might have plugged this last week, but I'm going to plug it again. Bischoff talked about, Roman Reigns and how he should be more of a tweener, or kind of like the anti-hero, because he's not really a heel. So it was a really good show. He talked about the business, and guess what? Even one of the greatest of all time, Hulk Hogan, called during the show. So y'all make sure y'all check that out. Support some of the black wrestling podcasters and creators. You always hear about people talking about Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson and your Eric Bischoffs and all of them. Yeah, that's cool. Then you hear about the other podcasts that's got these big networks and all that behind them. Your Busted Open Radios, your Cheap Heat podcast, and that's cool, But let's also support the local ones. Support the young, the up-and-comers. Support the newer podcasts. Support the smaller ones, the independents. The people that when you tweet at them, they're going to reply back to you instantly. Let's support them. That's the reason why I like supporting, View from the Top Rope, Black Wrestling, Black Announce Table, Jobber Tears, Those Wrestling Girls. I like supporting these podcasts, one, because they're putting out consistent content. If y'all really knew how hard it is to do sometimes, You know, and shout out to people. You know, I'm blessed where, you know, mine's a setup right here in my home. Doesn't mean it's always easy though. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, folks. Kind of rather be doing this right now. For those who see, I'd rather be playing my PlayStation 5, but I also like podcasting. So I said, you know, why not? I gotta be consistent. You know, and that's what I talk to my brother Glenn all the time. Shout out to the Wrestling Marks of Excellence Radio. You know, they've been doing this for years as well. And, you know, that consistency is very important whenever you're doing podcasting, because that's how you get up in the iTunes ranks and the Spotify ranks, folks. So, and, you know, 175 episodes, woo, I tell you. It's a lot. I look at my hard drive. I'm like, man, I'm going to need to get another one pretty soon. As promised, the tag team. Let's talk about the tag teams. PWI, top 50 tag team list. First of all, okay, so tag teams just came around. Interesting. PWI been around forever. But now suddenly tag teams have just come around. Okay. But they put Dax and Cash Wheeler of FTR number 1. I highly disagree. When I think of the tag teams, first of all, I get that they're the new AEW tag team champions. And I get they made a big splash. But I look at this. It's only 2 other teams I think should be number 1. Well, you know what? Kenny Omega and Adam Page number 2. Okay, maybe. But I would say the Street Profits, you know, they're number 5. They're better than the North. The Golden Role Models, you can make an argument, you know, they 1A, 1B. But the reason why I say that, you look at what the Street Profits have done. They won the tag team championships. I think they lost them, but they regained them, and then they've been rolling. You know, they went into WrestleMania, and then we hit the pandemic. And then what? During the pandemic, they held it down, winning matches, highlighted. I mean, first hour of Raw, you had the Street Profits taking on the Viking Raiders or taking on Andrade and Angel Garza. So to me, like, the work that they've been doing, that's the reason why they're the number 1 tag team. I don't get it. Like, why not? And then I also bring up the Golden Role Model, Sasha and Bayley. The work that they've been doing, and at one point had all the gold. Incredible. You know, AEW's good. But let's not act like they surpassed the WWE. Let's not act like that. You know? But even Omega and Page, they should be over Dax, Harwood, and Cash Wheeler. Because they held it down forever. And then they've been wrestling all these tag teams. So even in a division that's highlighted more, I just don't see how FTR is the number 1 tag team, folks. So that was my issue with that. If you ask me, it is the one and only Street Profits. So if I had a list, I would say congratulations to them. But I also say this: tag team wrestling has been around for a very long time. The media has an influence, folks. Let's not forget. The media has an influence. So why didn't PWI utilize their influence to put this importance on tag team wrestling a long time ago, as opposed to jumping on AEW's bandwagon? It makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that. I'm just a little like it just doesn't make no sense, you know. Shout out to my bro Steven. We remember the conversation about Natalya. Natalya, I'm punching in the face. Whatever. But let's go into From the Realm. Yeah, it comes back. it comes back. So, you know, we got to roll. Let's make sure that's all situated. Let's roll that cut. Let's roll the music. And now for our From the Realm segment, where I answer your questions from the Facebook fan page, the Facebook group page, and the Twitter at Wrestling Realm. From the Realm, I got one question from my brother Mike Patton at Mike Patton 82. He covers the Tennessee Titans for Haps News, but we're talking wrestling. And his question is, what are your thoughts on the career of Sting in the WWE? Cut short. I was disappointed that he got hurt in his match with Seth Rollins. One, I did want to see Sting get a WWE Championship match. I don't like the fact that he didn't win a match, but I understand Sting doing best for what's best for business. So it's a little disappointing. Left something to be desired, but I do think, he was, it was good to see him there. That Survivor Series 2014, he shows up. I still remember my reaction that night. I mean, it was just incredible. And I would just I wish he could have, another match. I wish he could have got a win. I enjoyed the match with Triple H at WrestleMania. Very disappointed that he lost, but I enjoyed the match. So shout out to Mike for asking that question. My bad, I meant to put that graphic on the screen. But folks, I'm actually getting ready to get out of here. Make sure y'all be safe. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. And make sure you subscribe to the Wrestling Realm. Tell your friends about the show. Let them know where they can get great wrestling content, interactive wrestling content. I'd rather do this live to tape, but if the demand is there, we can go live. I'll bring it live and then, bring some more people in. Definitely have some guests coming up. Got some things, been rapping the Amber Rodriguez. So we got some, got the Queendom coming. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned to that. Until the next time, folks, I am Brian H. Waters. So long, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notified every time the Wrestling Realm posts new content.